Okay, this story I am sad at because I actually was thinking about him the last couple of days, and I did the clip that I just put up a couple days ago, and it took me a minute because I was saying that, oh, some people were nicer, nice in person. Okay, so I've talked about me meeting Richard Simmons many years ago, many years ago, and he was quite a, I'm just trying to think how to say it. So in my childhood we grew up kind of obese at some point, and so he came around and he was just kind of this ball of sunshine, right? Like, you couldn't hate Richard. I mean, how do you hate Richard? You can't hate Richard. And in real life, or at least we'll put it like this, the persona that he was portraying when I met him, when the cameras were off, was the same person. Now, how what was going on in his personal life, I have no idea. But he was so friendly and sweet, and he was talking to me. Again, this isn't a normal thing on sets because a lot of these celebrities will not talk to you, and you're not allowed to go talk to them anyway unless they beckon you, kind of thing. And then he was asking me how what I thought of the show. And so the show that we were doing there was the what was it called? It was to make dreams come true, or some sort of, thingy there. So we got sent out to sit in I think it was just to sit in, to fill the seats up, that type of thing. And I don't know, but I was talking to him and I was just like, thank you, something, something. And he's just a sweetheart. He was just a total sweetheart. So it's just odd because he came up into my brain the other night because I was it came right out because I was thinking, yeah, all these terrible people that we met on set. And then there was only like a couple of people that I could think of who were like sweet as hell. And then I was thinking, oh yeah, him. It wasn't like the cameras turned off and then he was this total diva, like horrible human. It wasn't that at all. It was just he was being that. And then I read this post that he put out, and I was kind of like, I don't know. There was something weird about it. He just celebrated his birthday on Friday, and then he posted something which I saw, and then it came off weird. It came off really weird. So so he said he is known for his unrelenting positivity and has died. And he was 76. But isn't this crazy? Like, he was this really healthy guy, or at least, he came off pretty healthy and he did his thing and everything. And then he died at 76. Like, I don't know what happened here. So the police department had a call. The housekeeper found him dead. And then he appeared to have died of natural causes, and no foul play is suspected. But this is strange, though, because he posted something. Well, first off, he took time off. I don't know if it's a thing where he was just getting tired. Maybe his body was just like, I'm tired. Like, I don't know. Nobody knows. And he's like, I have some news to tell you. Please don't be sad. I am dying. Oh, I can see your faces now. The truth is, we're all dying. Every day we live, we are getting closer to our death. He later clarified that he was not actually dying, but the message was intended to encourage everyone to embrace every day that we have. And he just posted this yeah, 3 months ago, and I had just ran across it, and I was like, oh, he actually posted something. And then he said that, and it was kind of creepy and cryptic. And then, so we don't know, when they say natural causes, like, I don't know if he had some health issues that were going on, and he's just like, I just can't, I don't want people to see me like that. And then started, being a hermit. It's hard to know. This is just really strange. So he later clarified that. So Simmons had been out of the public eye lately, though there were reports of a biopic being made about the fitness enthusiast early this year. Simmons criticized the reports, writing, don't believe everything you read. I no longer have a manager, and I no longer have a publicist. I just try to live quiet life and be peaceful. And Simmons posted yeah, he posted that thing, I don't know, they posted several times a day. He posted about his birthday on Facebook a day before his death, writing, thank you, I never got so many messages about my birthday in my life. I'm sitting here writing emails, having a most beautiful rest of your Friday. He told his fans in March that he had skin cancer removed from his face, but was now doing well. I didn't know that. Yeah, so could you say if you had cancer, would you say he died of natural causes? I mean, I don't know. Like maybe he was fighting cancer or something. So I know some of you reading this have had cancer or have known someone in your life who had cancer. Promise me you will see the doctor and get a complete checkup. Yeah. And I went through my scare thing too, that I did not like that. And right now we're battling. There's a whole other thing with this. Anyways, but yeah, so, maybe that's what was the thing here. He was born. Okay, so they're talking about his name, and he dropped his name and went to Richard. Simmons has often talked about how he was overweight as a child, which led him to his weight loss journey in pursuit of a career in fitness starting in the 1970s and 80s. And his first foray into weight loss came with the opening of his gym, Simmons, in Beverly Hills. He released his book, Never Say Die, in the 80s, and the book was in 1980, and the book was the first of 12 that he would release in his career. And his line of fitness exploded in popularity in the 1980s, along with nationwide fitness craze that included a growing popularity of aerobics and jazzercise. His video included Sweat to the Oldies series became some of the most popular videos of the era. And those things are still really good if you guys do them. Simmons also made regular TV appearances, including as a regular on the talk shows at Late Night with Letterman, Rosie O'Donnell. He had a regular role in the soap opera General Hospital and made guest appearances as himself in such Arrested Development, Larry Sanders Show. He also hosted his own talk and fitness show, The Richard Simmons Show, from the 80s, in 1980 to 84. And the show won 4 Daytime Emmy Awards, and they completely ignored that he was on Howard Stern like a bunch. And Howard gave him hell. Yeah, so that's very sad. I don't know. I knew something was wrong because, okay, so he's such a charismatic dude. Like, he has to always be around people and do all those things. Like, something started to happen at some point because he just, like, went into hiding. And I'm wondering if maybe they found cancer and he just didn't want to come out and talk in the media and even go through it because you don't know what's going to happen. Maybe. And then he just started hiding out. Like, he didn't want to be seen. Now, if you have that on your face, like, I don't know what the procedures are for that, but I know, like, people have been talking about getting things cut out. And I actually had to go in for that. I mean, I didn't have it, but the guy was trying to say that, oh, that thing that you're talking about. It started off like this. I go, can I get this thing lasered off? Because one day, I'll tell you the dumbest thing I did. So one day, like, back in the day, you would try to, like, mess with your pores and do this weird thing. So I was, like, messing with my face so much that I caused one to go outward or something weird, okay? And then I was like, I got this bump now, and it won't go away. And it kind of got, I don't know, a tad bit bigger, but it's just annoying. It's stupid. Anyway, so I've never even thought of like spending money to get it removed or, see if I could or anything like that. So I was sent to a dermatologist and I go, how much would it be to remove this? Just out of curiosity. Is it something I could even look into doing? Because it's just minor, it's just stupid. Anyway, and then he started freaking out and he's like, oh, you know what? That actually could be this cancer. And I'm like, excuse me, it's been there for years. He's like, well, this cancer will last for years and you won't even know it. Just some bullshit. I'm like, do you know how long it's been there, though? I mean, really, how long it's been there? It's been there since the 1990s, since the mid-1990s, and we're in 2020 right there. Yeah, somewhere around there. So then, he's like, no, we need to get a biopsy, so you need to come back in, it could be cancer, and it's a very bad thing, and we'll have to do this whole other thing. And now I'm freaking out because I mean, my mind's not even going to that. And because I know what I did and what caused it. It was like that thing. And he's like, oh no. And I'm like, okay, great. And then, then I'm freaked out for like the whole week because I had to get it. Well, no, it was more than a week. It was like 2 weeks because I had to get it approved from the medical group, and then they scheduled this day for to get like they were gonna do something to it, so I had to prepare and I drive all the way down there, you guys. And then he goes, you know what? I believe it's not that, so we're just not gonna do it today. And I'm like, excuse me? And now, like, my mind is in this mindset that, oh my God, it could possibly be cancer. Why don't you check it anyway? You got the approval, check it anyway. Why are you sitting there backing up out of it? So then I filed some complaints with the medical board, or with the medical group first. And I go, yeah, the guy, like, set me up. And then the doctor lied to them and said that I backed out. I go, who backs out of that? I go, I literally went there. Why would I back out of it? We got approved, and I was trying to do it on the same day that he wanted to do it, because he actually wanted to do it on the day that he thought it might have been. And he's like, oh, your thing is making us wait. And I go, damn it, because you don't want to wait. Like, if somebody tells you that, you want to get it checked, like, rah, 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 that. Unless it's, like, totally atrocious, like what we had this last round on this other thing. But I said they keep doing it. They keep doing these false flags, like, on me. And so now it's got to the point where it's just abuse. It's not even, we're trying to save your life. It's just like literally abuse. It's mental abuse. Oh, we think you got cancer. It's really serious. Cancer, cancer, cancer. And then they do these horrible things to me. And they're like, nah, it ain't none of that. Yeah, and I'm sitting here going, are you guys doing this on purpose? Like, I don't know. You guys make more money on doing that kind of crap? Yeah, so I'm having a worse time with it. And then, like, and cancer's really common. So it's kind of like, you don't want to get to this point where you're like, I'm not doing any of these tests ever again. Because eventually it's probably going to really happen, you know? And it's just like the cry wolf thing too much. And then I finally just go, no. And then that'll be the time that it is something real, right? You know. Anyways, I am really sad about this anyway, and I think that maybe that's what was behind all of this towards the end, because his thing also is like, don't worry about me. Don't worry about me. But he had to know. I mean, how do you post some crap like this and then you die? I mean, you know what I mean? You must feel it. Like, you must be knowing you're going. So I don't know if he kept going into the doctors and, you know, maybe he's been on things and then he just died. I guess you could consider it naturally. You never know the way that they post it. I mean, he didn't get killed or anything like that. So it's like natural causes. Like, you would have a heart attack. You just, you know, you stop breathing. You know, something, right? I don't know. And then he's telling you, don't believe everything you read. Was anybody in his life besides the housekeeper? That's what I'm just wondering. I'm just like, what a effed up life. I mean, I don't know. Like, it's so bizarre to me. Because if you guys knew him at that time, or even seen him, like I was saying, like, he had this young, I said, he had this young guy around. And I was like, I don't know. I think I thought it was his boyfriend. He never came out and said he was gay. I don't know. He just wanted to be private over there. But there was a guy, and maybe it was just, I don't know. He was in these, like, and maybe he's out here somewhere. I don't know. We don't know who he is. Anyway, he was in these, like, tight, like, spandex, black and white striped leggings, like something like that, like a fitness person would wear. And then, like, some, like, spandexy top thing or something. And then he was, like, on the set with them. And so I was like, I just assumed, like, oh, maybe that's his young boyfriend. That's what I assumed. Was it? I don't know. And I was talking about this stuff, so then he's probably like, don't tell people stuff like that. I don't know, dude, but I just assumed it. I mean, you just would assume it. It was just like, you could tell, like, the guy, I don't know who the guy is. I don't know. Where is he? I don't know who he is. It could have been an assistant that he got. I don't know. I don't have any, an assistant in spandex. I don't know. It was some guy. I just assumed it was his boyfriend. And he was really young, though. And he was actually, I would say he was like a decent looking dude. Like, I don't know. But I was always curious about that. But then he was never really open about anything else, Like he never, that thing. He just wanted to keep this like his private life like really private. But who's in it? Is nobody in it? Like that's the thing. Like when he died, it was just like that housekeeper. He's like, I love my housekeeper. I was like, is it really his housekeeper, or is it basically like a nursemaid live-in help, right? Because the girl that I was living with actually did that with this like a caretaker, and so like I'm wondering if that's more of the story. I'm just curious. Like you want to know, everybody wants to know. Do I have the right to know? No, but I want to know. So R.I.P. Richard. Thank you for your good, healthy advice on all of it, because none of his stuff was crazy. It was just like, just move around, guys. Move around and eat, healthy proportions and do that. And then he's just like all positivity. I mean, but it's not, there's a level of this that's not actually healthy. And that's the other thing about it. It's like what you see on the outside may not be actually what's going on the inside, but he just wants to leave it that way. I just recently read the story and I was kind of laughing in a way. It was just like, oh my God, this is like the first time that I read that Richard got violent, dude. Like, wait. And I was actually talking about me chucking a cheeseburger. So watch what happened here is kind of, I don't know. Okay. Richard Simmons claims Roseanne Barr tried to force feed him on her talk show. You don't do that to a health person. That's rude. I don't know. The former fitness guru also shared that a celebrity bodyguard once told him to shut up. So Richard is spilling secrets from his talk show appearance heyday as he continues to dispel rumors about his well-being. I don't know why he was doing that though, you guys. Like, his well-being I mean, something wasn't right, but I don't know. It's just weird. The fitness guru took to X to share several stories from when he was a guest on shows hosted by Martha Stewart, Rosie O'Donnell, Roseanne Barr, Wendy Williams, and more. As he claims, his experience with Barr wasn't a positive one. Simmons says the first they met on a plane and they shared a pleasant exchange. After her sitcom took off, Barr also hosted a short-lived talk show and had him on as a guest. Okay, I remember the show. I don't remember him on it. But it's all, when we were talking, I noticed something on the table in between us. It was a hamburger with everything in it. And he alleged, she asked me, Richard, you can't always eat healthy. And she got up and tried to force feed me the hamburger, pushing it in my mouth. I was not amused. I snapped. I grabbed the hamburger and shoved it in her mouth and walked off the stage. And this is something I was not proud of. I was laughing because I was like, I had this moment. I mean, his is actually more justifiable than mine, but still. It's like one of those moments. It's like, I probably shouldn't have done that. That's actually not the right thing to do, but, you don't do it again. Anyway, she screamed and yelled at me when I was leaving the stage. Her executive producer, Jeff, told me she was going to sue me. And I told him, I will sue her first. Oh my God. This would have been the greatest thing to, I don't know. Is it on YouTube? Simmons said they ran into each other 15 years later. According to him, she said, I just wanted to say hello. And I said hello back, and she went on her merry way. Roseanne now lives in Hawaii and has a huge macadamia nut farm. I wish her well. He's just making peace. The 75-year-old shared that his energy was apparently disruptive for Nicki Minaj backstage during the Wendy Williams show. I was in my dressing room singing. All of a sudden, someone was pounding on my door. I opened it to find a man who looked like a bodyguard, and he said, Nicki Minaj is putting on her makeup, and you are disturbing her. He said, shut up, as Steve Martin would say. Well, excuse me. Representatives for Barr and Minaj did not immediately respond to Fox News' digital request for comment. Honey, you're too nice for that, okay? Like, I don't know. Oh my God, I would have been the one that would be like, oh my God, you hear him singing? Let's go tape him. Let's go. Like, do you see? No, I probably would have bothered him. It's like, Richard. Yeah, he'd be like, leave me alone. No. Simmons noted he cared for Williams and has added her to his prayer list following the announcement of her dementia diagnosis. He went on to recall more positive experiences, like alongside Celine Dion on the Rosie O'Donnell show. While we were talking, I bent my knee and scooped her up in my arms, put me down, Richard, and we all chuckled. Simmons says his interaction with Dion, who later invited him to a concert in Las Vegas. You probably shouldn't have scooped her up in her arm, but okay. So Miss D is also going through some medical problems, but each day she is growing stronger. To be continued, he said, referring to Dion's ongoing struggle with stiff person syndrome. Yes. Okay. Describing his stop at Martha Stewart's show, she was a little serious at first, and this lady is so talented, I think has butter and pastry cream in her veins. Later in the show, I took 2 carrots and placed it on my head like horns, and she looked at me and said, Richard, can you behave? In the multiple lengthy threads on X, Simmons also wrote about run-ins with Ellen, Phil, Charles, Phil, Dr. Phil, Sally, Jesse Raphael, Ricky Lake. Yeah, that's there, right there. Did he say anything bad about Ellen or Dr. Phil? Earlier this week, the Sweat into the Oldies star also posted a video YouTube of a voice message over static cartoon drawings of himself. Hi everybody, it's Richard. Happy May 6th. Thank you so much for reading my message. Roses are red, violets are blue. Do you know how much I love you? Have a beautiful day. Bye for now. It's like, what? The clip is the first time Simmons' voice has been heard in years, but some remain skeptical about its authenticity. I really enjoyed doing my voice message to you all. Some people thought it's AI, but I think you know my voice. I plan to do more in the future. Some shows sort of made fun of what I said, and their remarks really hurt me. One lady thought I sounded like Barney the Purple Dinosaur. Have a beautiful day. Signing the post, love Richard. Yeah. Simmons has been out of the public eye for 10 years, only recently ramping up his social media presence in the past few years as he addressed rumors about his health. He's also become engaged in back and forth with Pauly Shore over a potential upcoming biopic about his life. And then he says that's not real or something. I don't know. Something with Pauly Shore. Dear God.
But I think funny is funny, and I think that I think that people sense what's funny. So I think that if someone's saying something a little bit harsh and they're not funny, then it's just not funny. But if they're saying something harsh and they're funny, then I think they get a pass. Does that make sense?
But do you think comedians now have to really watch what they say, or can they just be themselves, considering what's going on in the world?
It's a good question, and I think it's a case by case.
It's about delivery. Delivery, how you're saying your comedy. If it's all about women or bimbos and blah, 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 it was never funny. It was only funny to men. Women painfully just laughed along with it. It's kind of that moment that when my dad was talking about the name Sambo to a black man who was his friend, the uncomfortable laugh. I mean, he wasn't even really laughing. It was just like, okay. And then they don't even get into it. I don't even know how they stayed friends, though, really, when I'm thinking about this stuff from back in the day. It's just like this level of ignorance. And I'm a kid, and I don't get it, because nobody, went into the whole historical thing on this. And I'm just like, oh, it's a bad thing? And then they kind of said this and that. And they're like, yeah, but we got the dog, and it was already named that before I got the dog. It's like, okay, so the person he got it from was a racist, okay? So, I mean, that's actually the truth of the story. But it's like, you could change the dog's name, because the dog will learn the new name. And I've done that millions of times with my pets. Like, they gave me an animal. I was like, I'm not calling the animal that name. Like, somebody gave me a dog and the original name was Baby Skins. I'm like, there's no way in hell. We're renaming the dog and it's going to learn it. And that's the end of it. But he, refused. It was this thing. But anyway, it's the same thing with comedy. It's like... back in the day, we just had to sit there and everybody's just like, like this, and it's all the men, right? And that's what he wants. He's like, he wants all the men comedians. He's not even talking about women. But at least he's kind of saying, at least Pauly's saying like this. He's like, if it's not funny, it's just not funny. I was like, that's the truth of it. I was like, it's always been that way. It's actually now men feeling, oh, I could complain about it. Because I used to get away with this a long time ago when it wasn't funny really then either. It was just funny to men. And, now people could actually verbalize like what the problem is. I think they could verbalize more what the issues are today than they could back then. You would just go, it's just misogyny, and you just sat around just going, yeah, I mean, how ridiculous is it? Some guy sitting there making jokes that we're a bunch of dumb bimbos and air's going out of our ears, with that Joe Rogan crap, right? And I'm just like, yeah, you know how stupid women look in the audience going, yeah. You know what I mean? It's like, did you have a choice? There's been a million times this has happened where men are just going on and you're just like, and if you say something, they'll start in on you. That's why. And so now they're actually getting the verbal feedback. Like, they're really getting the verbal feedback. And so they're like, what is this today? Oh, you don't think it's funny that we're calling you dumb? And that you're a bunch of sluts? You don't think that's funny? It's like this thing.
Case. Speaking of cases, when a comic plays a club that's put their phones in cases, they feel more free. So, for instance, we're all playing Joe Rogan's club right now in Austin, and he puts all the phones in pouches. And I was there a couple weeks ago. Bert's been there, and a lot of comics that work there feel free. So I think it's important that comedians don't lose that. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
So I don't know. Maybe he was, this is just my thinking. I was like, maybe he had been battling cancer for the last 10 years. Maybe it was spreading. Maybe there was all this stuff going on. He's just like, I don't want to ruin anybody's, thing. I don't want people worrying about me. I don't know. That's him. I don't know. I can't answer it. Now now there really will be. Now people are going to sit there and do this whole thing on him, probably. Anyway, out of all the people I was saying, he actually was one of the nice ones that I met that actually just randomly talked to me. Like, he was so nice. What is that show called? They didn't even mention it on here. It was with Rick Springfield. I don't remember that. Maybe Rick Springfield was the one in the in the leggings. I was like, oh my god, the dude's in spandex. Oh, that'd be hilarious. Joey McIntyre. Maybe it was Joey McIntyre in the spandex. Honestly, oh my god, I didn't even know this. Like, I didn't know it. I wouldn't even I would have known who Rick Springfield is, but I may not have. It is possible, like, in person, like, I wouldn't know him. Like, I wouldn't recognize him. Like, I know who he is, but I may, in person, not recognize him. Joey McIntyre, I think I would, because I knew all the back, isn't he he's the, New Kids on the Block, right? Joey! Yes! Wait, what the hell? I don't recall that. I would have fake found out. Jordan, Jonathan. No, I don't know because of my friend. It was so funny. Oh my god! And I had her some time around there. She would have died. I didn't even know that. No, I came in and they were doing this thing. So if you've never seen this show, it was like they were making dreams come true for people. It was like, I didn't hate it. It was like interesting. I was like, oh, okay, this is a new show thing. And okay, look, they have it on here. Yeah, and it was funny because I got sat up towards the front by him, and then they stopped taping. I was like, done. And then we started talking, and I was just like, oh my god. And then his like energy, it was just like, Harry, what did you think of this? And like wanting to know, like, is it okay? Is it good? Is it this thing? Something. I was like, yeah. Surprisingly, they didn't even mention it. There's a whole bunch of episodes on YouTube. I don't remember which one I was on, but I did find the show at one point, and then I was like sitting in this one area so you could kind of, not that it's just, I was looking, I was like, oh, I hadn't seen half the things that I recorded. So this was part of my job of the day. So they would send me wherever, and sometimes Sometimes the job isn't TV. I mean, it isn't doing like, a sitcom or something like that. Sometimes the job isn't just doing, movies and things. Sometimes the job's not doing music videos or I believe we did a commercial thing. It was a weird thing with the photo shoot. It was strange. Anyway, but then sometimes they send you off to television shows, right? So it's like, oh, we need to fill up the audience. So the audience, many times are actual, paid people. And, so if you guys didn't know that, but there are actual live shows. I believe the ones that were like on is that Warner Brother lot, when I was doing like Norm and stuff like that, I actually think those are actual people that get free tickets to sit as a live audience. And so then when we perform, like those people are, I believe they're not paid. They're actual, just like maybe tourists or whoever wanting to watch it, I believe. Um, I've never been paid to sit and watch a sitcom. That's not, those things I think are live audience, like real, like people that want to go see these things being taped. And then, but when you see things like, Judge Joe Brown, okay, those were paid, and that was a really sketchy thing. That was a different thing. That was where, like, if you couldn't find a job for the day, if anybody in the industry couldn't find a job, you would find these like sketchy people, and they would round you up and send you off to these like little side shows like that, like Judge Joe Brown, and hand you, like, they would have this roll of cash, and they would roll it out, like you would do the whole show, and then they would roll out like $20 and hand you 20 at the end of it. It was totally effed up. I mean, it was effed up because if I did it through the agency, then you would get a minimum of, whatever. But, yeah, so some of those, I believe it was the Judge Joe Brown where they rolled out the money. I was like, what is, but it was better though. You would take the money because it's like for the other thing, you had to wait for a check. And so it, in its own way, it kind of, it's like, all right, I'll take the cash for the day. Yeah, can you imagine, like, could you live on that? Like today they like literally are paying 20 an hour. And on those shows, we would be there for, I don't know, maybe 4 hours. So they were doing, I mean, you would average out 5, 10, 15, 20. Yeah. The minimum wage then? Yeah, I think it was something like that. Yeah, $20 for half a day, a part-time job. It would be a part-time job, I guess. Yeah. This though, I believe it was my agency that sent me to this, because it was similar to the other one, that strip poker one, where it was like I showed up and then like my comedy teacher was there, and I was like, what the hell? And yeah, I don't know, that went for like MTV or something. Or no, yeah, I believe he was. I could swear it was on that thing. I don't know. I remember standing in line and I was like, isn't that my teacher? Because I had to drop out of the class. And so I didn't finish the first round. This was like the first time I was going to comedy school. And so I didn't finish the school. But then he pops up. I could swear it was in line here. I was waiting to go in or something. And I see him. I go, oh, that's my teacher, dude. Like something like that. But anyway, that was actually sent through the agency, so that wasn't one of those other ones. But we were not on the show itself. They had us being in the audience. And the same thing happened on, oh, yeah, some talk shows. So talk shows will do it. The game shows did it. But not not that other thing. The actual live on the sitcom. That's all they were doing. They were giving all this crap away. That's why I was like, oh my God. Maybe they ran out of money at the end of it. I was like, I don't know. It wasn't a bad show at all. I was quite amazed by it. I was like, I wasn't even expecting it. I was like, I didn't know Richard doing a show. And I was like, I was all happy though. I was like, here's Richard from my childhood. Yeah, and he wasn't a jerk. It would have been so effed up if the dude's like, the camera turns off, right? And he's like this total asshole. He's like, nobody could look at me. And, and then he starts like pulling out like cigarettes and shit, being like, Arnold, and pulling that shit. And he's like, fuck, man, fuck. I mean, could you imagine like the whole like, that thing? No. I mean, legitimately, it was like him on and off. I mean, there was no off. It was just, that's him. But it could have just totally been the same way, like the Robin Williams thing, because when the cameras went off, he was trying to entertain us, so we wouldn't be bored in between these things. And then outside of all that, then people, say like, oh, he could be totally mean and, all this other thing. But no, like he was another one I talked about too. I go, oh no, this dude was like totally nice. It's not to say that he hadn't done anything horrible to anybody or any of that stuff, but he was not a jerk on set. He was overly nice, and he actually cared about us on set, which was the interesting thing because these actors usually don't. And so he just wanted to entertain us all in between takes, and we had to be outside. That taping really sucked because we had to be taping and be out there in the middle of the night, God knows when. Like, it was probably like 8 o'clock at night. I have no idea, but we were there until like the next morning, until the sun came back out or something. It was this outside scene on, I think, the movie Father's Day or something. Anyway, with him and Billy Crystal. But yeah, no, he just started doing little bits and was like, doing this thing. So it wasn't so like, grueling, because, these things can last forever, because they'll reset up or they're waiting for the sun to come out. I don't know what the hell on that, but, yeah, like just a whole bunch of things. And, you never know when you're leaving. That's the other thing. It's not like you have a clock and you're going, oh, we're going to be done at like 3 in the morning. Oh no. It's like, you're going to be here until we're done with you. It's like, okay. We're going to hold you hostage for, 50 hours, okay? Yeah. And then you would have to stay. Otherwise, they will get pissed off. I never had to work 50 hours, but they did have, I think the longest was, okay, so one of the longest I know was 16 hours on something, and I don't even know what it was. And I thought, oh, I'm going to get this huge paycheck. And then they send it to me, and it's like not that much more. And I was like, is this even worth it? I don't know, because you're supposed to start getting time and a half, and then somehow the government finds a way to take all the money out. Like, there was a whole other way to get around that. But no, it was never worth it. It was never worth it. To these guys, it was. To us, it was not. I don't want to read the news today. This is depressing.